How you doing? Good? All right. Right here we're looking at a company started in 1938 in Daegu, Korea, a noodle company that today has revenues of $149 billion and is ranked number 20 on the Fortune 500 list. That company is Samsung, and you might be familiar with Samsung Electronics. Which, how did they get from there to where they are today? They did it by focusing on, by having a dedication to creativity and innovation. And throughout the next years, there's more opportunities for growth as long as they continue down that same trajectory. I'm Rolf Luft.
I'm Ulises Vidal.
And thanks for having us here at the Samsung Strategic Management Meeting, 2013 in Austin, Texas.
Well, hello everybody. As I said, my name is Ulises Vidal. We are consultants for Samsung Mobile. Not only we studied the market climate, but also we identified opportunities and threats. In addition, we divide several strategies related to the near and long term. Today, we have been asked to share our results on our research with Austin branch, with a focus on how the company is going to move forward in the next years.
And three major factors of our proposed step strategy that we're going to focus on today are a range of products, emerging markets, and we're going to start it off by talking about competition.
Yeah, competition. I'm going to talk about Apple. What happened with Apple? According to Fortune magazine, Samsung overcame Apple to become the world #1 market maker in sales. Why is that? Take a look at this. Here we have the sales of smartphones, and here we have the profits. Smartphones, I mean, Samsung sells more the electronic devices than Apple. But why is Apple revenue still twice than Samsung? This is because they have their own operating system. I mean, in which you will find App Store, iTunes. It's like an ecosystem. Because what happens here? When Samsung sells a device, I mean, the transaction is over. You have profits. But what's the difference with Apple? You sell an iPhone, an iPod, and you can continue making profit with iTunes, an App Store, and other things. Well, as I mentioned, here's the ecosystem. You may find all of these products are connected to the same operating system. So, but Samsung has an operating system with Google called Android.
And up until now, our relationship with Google has been pretty much symbiotic. We have benefited, as you see here on this graph, from when we adopted Google as our operating system, as the main operating system, to today. You see that that our revenues there are increasing dramatically. So we've had a pretty good relationship so far. However, last year Google purchased Motorola Mobility for $12.5 billion, which will enable them, if they choose to create mobile handsets, hardware, on their own, which would level their playing field with Apple. They both they both have the same ecosystem that they're selling, but we would be left in the dark because we're still selling just hardware. So, Samsung, since the beginning, has really tried to focus on research and development. As you see here, this is from 2012. We spent $10.2 billion, which as a percentage of our sales is a lot more than Apple. The thing is, we've been focusing our research and development on hardware, and it's mostly done in Korea. However, this last year we opened a facility in California that's focusing on app development and software development. And we proposed that they also implement a plan to create our own operating system so that we can compete on the same playing field as the other guys. And also, if we were to do that and go down that road, the opportunities for Samsung are even greater than those that Apple and Google has, because we're already market leaders in several industries that they are not even in, such as with washing machines, televisions, radios, cameras, stuff like that. And as far as emerging markets go, there's tons of growth for cell phone sales. In developed countries, the market's pretty much saturated, but emerging markets, especially Africa, have a lot of opportunity. For instance, let's see here. There's a 500% increase over the last decade in cell phone penetration in Africa. And 50% of web users in Africa connect to the internet using only a mobile device. So mobile's really big in emerging markets, especially Africa. And Samsung made it a goal last year to double their sales in Africa to 10.5 billion by 2015. And we're sort of on track to do that with things like Build for Africa, which is part of the Samsung Africa Forum, which was started to better connect with that market and their needs. So we custom make products specifically for that market, tailor-made. Also, Samsung has business-to-business development projects and infrastructure development projects in different countries in Africa. And also, we're looking to expand our network of retail and service centers. Additionally, Samsung started several CSR initiatives, most notably solar-powered schools. Made from renovated shipping containers, they can service 21 students at a time, and they can run for 3 days without additional sunlight. They have 21 laptops and also a touchscreen presentation board for a teacher. They're fully mobile, so they can be moved by truck from town to town, which also allows them to reach children in rural areas that normally wouldn't have any sort of access to the internet or computers. And our goal is to reach 5 million students with these by 2015.
Perfect. Well, to sum up, we have here Apple. Apple's ecosystem contributes to the profit gap between Samsung and Apple. Android. As we mentioned before, Samsung uses Google operating system, Android, and the relationship between both could be complicated if should Google enter the manufacturing process business, because Samsung failed to produce their own software to replace Google's. And Africa, well, we know that there's enormous room in Africa to grow. So Samsung is using several tactics in order to increase their footprint on this continent. Well, this is all. Thank you, everybody. Does anyone have any questions?